Welcome back to part 2 of this exposure triangle tutorial vlog. In part 1 I discussed aperture, and if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll leave a link at the end of this video to the aperture section of this vlog. At the moment I'm going to discuss with you shutter speed and how that affects the exposure triangle, what that does and how we use it. I'm just on my way to a little spot where I can show you that, and I'll get set up with the camera and I'll show you some example images to explain how shutter speed works within photography. Now I'm trying to find a spot where there's some sort of movement within the image so that I can show you how shutter speed works, because altering your shutter speed makes a massive difference on how movement in an image will look. The best spot that I could find is this little bit of movement here in the water in the brook next to me. So I'm going to take a couple of shots of this and try and show you exactly how shutter speed will affect the way the water looks. Now this is not a very good example because the water is not very fast flowing in this particular area, but what I've tried to do is shoot one image with a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second. Now that is a very fast shutter speed, so it means that the shutter itself is not open for very long. It is literally only open for a split second, and that will only allow the light into the image for that very short amount of time. What that does is, if there is any movement in the image, it will stop that image, that movement, so it will look as though everything is perfectly calm and still, and you'll see that in the first image. What you'll notice in the second image is that I've actually decided to open up the shutter speed to 1 second. That's 1,000 times longer than the first image. So obviously the light that's coming in is lasting longer because the shutter speed is open for a much longer time. And what that does is, if there is movement within the image, that will start to blur the movement in the image, so you get an effect of a softening and almost a soft focus effect where that blur takes effect. It's quite an interesting effect, and you can see that the difference that makes within the two images. In part 3 I want to talk to you all about ISO and how that affects the way the image looks as well.